Good morning, and from Las Vegas, I'm Mandy with Security Weekly, joined this morning with Asaf Ashkenazi, the CEO of Verimatrix. Asaf, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Andy.
So glad that you are here. And I got to go to your booth yesterday. I got to speak with some of your staff and with you. And I will say I'm very intrigued by what Verimatrix XTD is doing. So I would like to give you a moment. Can you just summarize anything that you feel you want out there about Verimatrix quickly?
Yeah, of course. So we are Verimatrix. We are doing security and anti-piracy for more than 20 years now. So it's been some time with
Congratulations.
the biggest companies in the world that are using our products. And you know what's nice about it is that usually companies want everybody to know that their products are used. And of course, we are very proud of it. I bet that you probably used our product in the past week without knowing.
That's what I would assume too. I mean, with the application in so many, especially banking, fintech. But go on. What else are you thinking? Which application?
But that's the beauty about it, because when we're a business to business company, and we protect the app and the connection to the consumers for the companies, but it sits on the consumer device and on their app, and it can affect the user experience if not being done right. So the fact that you don't know that you're using our products, actually it's good, because it means that indirectly you are protected. The companies that are using our products have the trust in that, and there is no impact on the user experience that users have.
And that's fantastic. To me, it's very exciting to see actual threat detection and things that can go on at the consumer device level, not just an owned and managed endpoint.
Yeah, and exactly. If you look at today, the landscape, there are many companies that cover, if you're an employee and you're connected with your device or with your mobile phone and what's called BYOD. But if you are a company that have millions of users that are using their apps or web browsers and other devices to connect from the consumer side, there is absolutely no visibility and what's going on there.
Absolutely,
and it's very difficult because it's a consumer. You cannot go and I cannot tell you, hey man, you want to use our banking app? Please install this agent that will get access to everything. No, you cannot do that. So it's very difficult to do security in a way that is truly seamless, because it's not like employees that they will tolerate some level of intervention.
No.
Users, consumers, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see it's running slow. You cannot have false positives, you can agree to certain level of false positives.
True, very true. And I would say, as a consumer, in general, they just want to be able to trust that, the App Store took care of that. That's already handled. They don't need to worry about there being enhanced threats from their personal device. And they're certainly not thinking that there's threats from their device that can go back to a giant corporation. They're not going to put that together.
Yes, and they don't need to. That's the thing. It needs to be transparent, as I said. But let's take an example of one common attacks that we see a lot. Without naming companies, we see companies coming and say, we put one-time password. This is the text that you get, after you put the password. And they're saying how these accounts were hacked. Even if the password is being stolen, you still need to get this text in order to get.
Right.
So one of the attacks that we see is a simple overlay attack, what we call overlay attacks, that attacks the app in the environment, and it steals this text in real time, the password and the text. So now the hackers that are launching this attack through the app, they don't need to go and guess your password. They don't need to go and do very sophisticated thing to get the text message. So they get it immediately and they go and they hack the account. And then companies are not even aware.
Absolutely.
Because there is no any sensors that sits there that reports back to say something like this happened. It's out of the scope. It's somewhere else, all these apps that are running. But it affects the enterprise, and then they don't know where these attacks are coming.
And there's no way for a consumer to know, because the overlay attack basically, in general, doesn't it populate just a placeholder page where they think they're still signing into their bank or whatever company they think that they are accessing securely. They don't realize they've been hijacked.
No, they don't, until what happens is that they will not see anything with these
Right.
attacks. They will still be connected to the real account, see everything, but they don't know that there is a man in the middle that is getting all the information.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, the account is being hijacked and drained, or others, or they leak information depending on the use case that the hackers what they want trying to achieve. And then they just know that it is an account that was hijacked, but they don't know how
at
did
what
they hijack.
point, right?
And sometimes we look at it and we see companies spending millions of dollars in doing the authentication with the one-time password and others, but then the back door is open and it's
The
so
mobile
easy to
application
do that.
itself is the issue.
Yeah.
Right. So will you go into that a little bit more about how XTD is able to show and map things that you see, behaviors you see going on among consumer devices at the mobile app level?
So what we do, we our technology, which is called zero code, which means that we
Zero
don't
code,
need to
okay.
put any SDK, and it's very important because it's not invasive also to the development cycle of the app. It's really seamless, integrated
Good.
with the CI/CD. By a push of a button, the protection is being done, and the protection has two layers or two main components. There is the protection of the app itself, where we harden the app. It's very difficult to break it, to
Okay.
hack into it, to do things on the app itself. Even when the app is not connected to the cloud or the device is not connected to the cloud in the lab, it can protect itself. The second part is through the app, without getting permission or looking at private information of the users. We don't collect any private information. We can watch the environment and know what's going on, and we can monitor each installation of application on each user.
Which is that's almost astronomically interesting when you're thinking about what was going on 10, 15, 20 years ago, to think about having that sort of control. And actually, go ahead with what you were saying. I didn't want to cut you off there.
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But thinking about, no matter how intensely the security operation has handled everything that they can on the server side for security, what a fantastic opportunity for security teams to know that all of those attacks that are bypassing all of the server-side security also have a way to be detected and mitigated.
Absolutely, because when, this is another thing that companies put a lot of layers of security protecting their services, the IPA servers. But when you connect it from the app, it has a certificate that says, I'm the app.
It, yes.
I'm the real deal,
Right.
And if this is modified, it's still the real deal. Now, it takes us usually, when we check companies' applications, about like 30 minutes to find out this key that authenticate the app. And then the app goes bypassing all the security because it is trusted. It still need to go some security layers in. It's not that it's like immediately entrance, but you already bypass security worth of millions of dollars that being invested.
Right. So they're already at a level that's you don't want a malicious actor at.
And the thing is that you cannot see what's going on there. I'll give you an example of things that we can see. Some abnormal behavior. Normal users do not install on their device hacking tools that are used by hackers to reverse engineer, to modify, to do things like that. Real users do not run farming of a lot of devices.
True.
Right?
True.
So we see sometimes, really not real behavior, like the app is like launching and crashed every 10 seconds and doing like weird things. Normal user does not do that. And when we detect that, we know that this is an attempt to attack the API server, to fuzz it, or it's an attempt to attack the app. And this is the thing that another layer is that we can even mitigate it remotely. And we can shut down the application, not the device, because we are not touching the device of the consumer.
Right.
This is the consumer's device. But the application itself that is owned and run by the companies that we are protecting, we can shut it down in there. In some of our ability, because we are working also on anti-piracy to detect, because in anti-piracy you want to detect the specific
An
users,
individual, right.
individuals that leaks the content,
Absolutely.
and shut them down in real time, right? Let's say that it's a sporting match or other. When the sporting match is
Right.
over, it's already too late. You want to be able to pinpoint them out of, that's 10 millions of users that are connected, to find out the exact one that is doing the trouble, to make sure that you know that they are making the trouble, that they are the troublemakers,
Right.
and take them down. And this is something that we can do. And this is ability that we also develop because of our anti-piracy solutions.
And it's such, I love that marriage of both of those mindsets with doing the anti-piracy. And now, how exciting on the security team to go, wow, we actually can find basically a needle in the haystack if we're getting down to a consumer device, not just an endpoint that's on our own system and our own network.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, innovative, because I'm not aware of many solutions that can monitor users' application behavior, or the part of that installed on the consumer, but without impacting the consumer, without compromising any private information or any performance. So it's really
Yes.
seamless, and this goes back to where I said, the fact that you don't know that you are protected, because we are protecting the big banks, we are protecting automotive companies.
Okay.
That let's say that you open the car remotely. We are protecting media companies, telecommunication,
Oh,
really across the
fantastic.
board.
So it
And-
works
and
down to
they-
even fobs? I mean, you're saying even with, you're working with automotive companies to even help that?
No, today you know that you can control your car through an app.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So this app is
Yeah.
protected. You can if it is hacked, you can track the person, because the location of where they are is also available to the app. You can start remotely, stop remotely the car. There are a lot of things that you can do through the apps.
Nice.
Apps are also now controlling medical devices,
True.
right? So you can, through an app, you can connect to an insulin pump or other things that now are being used. So apps are now really used everywhere.
Always. Absolutely.
And apps are so essential for the companies. If you ask yourself, what is the biggest asset a company has? People say the engineers, and it's true, or the people, but the biggest asset is the consumer, right? Is their customers. Their customers is what's bring them the value.
True.
And if you don't protect that, there is a problem, right? Because you're just
Absolutely.
ignoring the most important part of your business.
Absolutely. So, in summary, quickly, now let's go from bare bones. Most companies, are they not already securing their apps?
Most companies are not.
Okay.
I think that the biggest problem is that they're not, in the past we saw that they were not aware that there is a need to protect it. We see more and
Okay.
more the awareness, but they are not aware that there are solutions that will not interfere with their business. They're saying,
think
if I'll
that's a
do it, it
much
will
bigger
interfere
key.
with the business. And this
Yeah.
is the thing. To know, I want them to know that the technology exists. It's working. Companies are using it. We have tens of millions of end devices that we are monitoring. And it is working. There is a solution.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Asaf, for being here. Thank you for sharing everything. And very quickly, if there's one sentence takeaway that you would like for our very intelligent audience to follow up on, what would that be?
Look at the app. Don't ignore it.
Okay.
Don't think that just because it is a Google or Apple protecting it, they are protecting the app from the environment, or the environment from the app attacking the environment. But what happens in your app? No, we are in Vegas. So what happens in the app stays in the
Stays
app.
in the app. And
Right?
it's still an issue for you. You still have
So
issues
they
with
don't
it.
they don't look at if the app is playing by the rules of Apple or Google.
Right.
But with playing in the rule, you can do a lot of damage. So I'm saying, don't think that this is something that is not a problem. Don't ignore the problem. Whether you use our solution or somebody else, the most important thing for me, the message that I want everyone to get, is that you need to look at the app.
Look at the app. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And for everyone to get a lot more information, please go to securityweekly.com/VerimatrixBH. Thank you from Las Vegas.